Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. My name is Megan Mills, and I appreciate you stopping by. We're going to be talking about how businesses fail and how we as leaders can prevent failure in our companies and our places of employment. So one of the many benefits of being a resident of the United States of America is having the ability to venture out on our own, separate from the hustle and bustle of corporate America, and become our own bosses. Owning a business is a big part of the American dream, and while many love the idea that is associated with that, there are definitely some huge risks involved, depending on the industry you're involved in, the style of business desired, and the upfront investment required. What are some different reasons that you guys can think of that people may be fearful of opening a business?
I would believe that many fears that people have would be product placement. They may not think they have the right products that'll sell because of competition. There may be also about finances and investors, and just overall being scared of failure.
Sure, absolutely. That fear of failure is a big one. And some of the other suggestions that I came up with as well that coincide right along with what you were saying, Marnisha, are how will I come up with the upfront investment? Should I open a franchise, which is a proven system but will cost me millions of dollars, or should I stay small and open a sole proprietorship? How will I pay for my bills? How will I avoid failure, considering most startups do fail? How long will it take to make back my investment? Should I hire employees or just stay by myself? What about insurance, legal aid, and payroll? And one of the biggest fears, do I have the knowledge of business marketing and a demand for my product? So a lot of these different, this conglomerate of unknown factors cause a lot of different feelings within us that hinder us from actually making that step and opening a business. So there's, excitement's a big one, fear, we're worrisome, we're nervous, we're confident, we're stressed, all of these different emotions, and they all kind of come around the same time period. And it just makes most of us unwilling to take that step. And that fear is actually a legitimate fear, because if we look at the facts of small businesses in America, we're really looking at the risk versus the reward. For example, if we look at some of these statistics, among the thousands of businesses that open in America today, the majority of that are small businesses. Small businesses actually are making up 99.7% of U.S. employer firms, and they house 500 employees or less per organization. According to the Small Business Association, the following statistics were true back in 2014. Small business startups accounted for 40% of new jobs between the years of 1993 and 2013. About half of all new businesses survive 5 years or less, and only a third of those that get past that 5-year mark make it past 10 years. And this statistic isn't necessarily from the Small Business Association. However, there was an article in Forbes stating a statistic from Bloomberg that 8 out of every 10 businesses started fail within the initial 18 months of opening their doors. So these businesses are coming in, they're excited, they've got their product, they're working within the market, and something happens within those 18 months, and all of a sudden they are bankrupt and they are closing their doors. So what exactly is happening within these businesses that is causing them to fail, and so many of them to fail? There was an article that was done by a gentleman named Mark Camo that was published on bplans.com, and he came up with 5 different factors of why these businesses are failing. The first one pertained to a failure of leadership. In a nutshell, Camo describes this issue as the inability to lead a team of employees, the lack of courage or ambition to manage those employees, and to control and resolve issues effectively and efficiently. The second reason was a lack of uniqueness or value. So this basically means that the research was done, it's been determined that there's a need or demand for the product or service that we are providing, but the larger scale issue is there is so much competition, and there is a lack of uniqueness in the market for our product or service. And we do not have the ability, or we fail to create value in order to stand out in the market, to be effective, and to earn a profit. The third reason was not staying in touch with consumer needs. One of the main reasons a business would fail is the neglect of customer need and feedback. By keeping abreast on what's hot, what's not, going out of their way to converse with their clientele, and more importantly, implementing feedback from customers, these businesses would have an edge on their competition as well as the market. So we can clearly see that ignoring a consumer and our customers is a surefire way to ensure our doors will close sooner than later. The next one is creating and implementing an unprofitable business model. Now, there are some businesses that wing it, and they decide that making a business model is not a part of their plan. And of course, those businesses won't be successful. That's been proven over and over again. But it's also possible for a business to fail even having a business model because it's ineffective, poorly constructed, or it can be an amazing business model, but it's poorly implemented. Another reason is poor financial management. And this one, Camo actually states that according to smallbiztrends.com, that 40% of businesses see a profit, while an astounding 60% either just break even or they actually lose money. I don't know about you, but if I start a business, I want to start making money, right? So the next phase of this then is, what are the key components of a successful business? How do we get these businesses past that, at least the 18-month mark, right? And then we're going to try and get past that 5-year and that 10-year. So there's got to be a system, and there's got to be a way to do it. Well, we are actually going to go through here some different components that were mentioned in an article on smallbusiness.crone.com written by David Ingram. He mentioned the following key ingredients are what are going to, and implementing all of them are going to make a business successful. The first one is taking the time to create and regularly audit an effective business plan. So we can probably all agree that times change, demand changes, consumers change exactly what they're looking for, and marketing changes, all of these different things, right? 10 years ago, we weren't using social media for advertising, and now we are using it every day. So being open to that change and regularly auditing that business plan is a huge key component to maintaining the business progress. The next one is to learn our market and create appropriate value for the product, provide exceptional customer service and seek feedback from customers, and then practice proper financial management, continuously compare our ratios to like companies, and then learn from others' mistakes and successes. So there is a saying that goes, if it's important to learn from your mistakes, but it's better to learn from other people's mistakes, and it's better to learn from other people's successes. It accelerates your own successes, and that was by Jim Rohn. And another quote that I have here is, a dream doesn't become a reality through magic. It takes heart, determination, and hard work. So in order to have a successful business, we have to understand that it takes hard work, due diligence, and it takes perseverance. And those are some key ingredients that we can incorporate as leaders while trying to make these businesses and cause them to grow and stay in business. So how can, besides adapting to change and learning from other people's mistakes, how can we as leaders reduce the risk of failure in these companies? The first thing is going to be to understand that failure is inevitable, but it surfaces to teach us. We need to learn to grow as individuals, and that means reading and immersing ourselves in personal growth, surrounding ourselves with positive people and people that are better than we are, inviting and embracing change, developing our ability to communicate, empathize, and learn from our followers. That servant leadership is a big key here. Leading by example and knowing the difference between managing and leading others. Being open to give and receive constructive criticism, and being prepared, humble, and analytical about necessary, crucial conversations that need to be had. So what I've done here in this next slide is I have suggested some different readings that we as leaders can incorporate into our daily mantra. So it's very easy as we are going through every workday and we go through the motions and we are fed all of these different opinions from people who aren't necessarily where we want to be in our lives. People who, like, if we're trying to open a successful business, would we rather speak with Donald Trump, who is now our president of the United States, or would we rather listen to John Doe over here, who had gone bankrupt and failed many small businesses because he didn't understand the process? So we want to make sure that we're surrounding ourselves with opinions and with suggestions and with positive, uplifting advice from people who have been successful. And so The Slightest Edge by Jeff Olson, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Earl Nightingale, Cash Flow Quadrants by Robert Kiyosaki. That's a great one for someone who's just getting started and they want to know what kind of business they want to get involved in and the risks and the rewards that come with those. And then My Philosophy of Successful Living by Jim Rohn. All amazing resources. And then, of course, there's different business publications and journals and things like that, and conferences and things that we can involve ourselves in that are going to allow us to get more knowledge, not only in the area that we are pursuing, but also in the general development of businesses and how they function. So the references for the information that I received today are below the suggested readings and references. So you're welcome to pull those up and do your own research. But I really appreciate your time today. Are there any questions that anyone has at the moment?
I think you did a really good job at explaining, the difference between how businesses fail and what's needed for success. And I really appreciate the readings. Because I wrote them down because I'm gonna I read How to Win Friends and Influence People and Think and Grow Rich, but I want to check out the other three and read those as well. So I really appreciate your time and your presentation.
Yeah, The Slightest Edge was probably my favorite out of all of them. It's a little bit more up to date and modern versus Think and Grow Rich and How to Win Friends and Influence People. And those books are a little bit, they were written, decades ago. So it's something that's a little bit more to our time. So it's a little bit easier to follow as well. And then Cash Flow Quadrants, Robert Kiyosaki has so many books that comes out, and it's all about success in business. And he himself has built several successful businesses.
Okay.
And then Jim Rohn, he has several CDs out. I've listened to many of them. I like to listen to him in my car. But he is just wonderful. He's hilarious. And he really keeps your attention as well. So I think you'll really enjoy some of those items.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for attending. I really appreciate your time. And I will go ahead and send out a copy of this presentation so that you can have a copy of it for your records, okay?
Thank you so much.
Of course. Enjoy your evening.
You too as well.
Thank you.